How are we all? We had a couple of customers. One came in to see me and asked the question, and one dropped me an email the other day, actually. Yesterday, actually, as a matter of fact. Just asking about grading. Now, I know I've put some bits up on here before about grading. It is changing, though. The suppliers are changing because of the ever-growing scarcity of old trees, and this is predominantly because of the huge Asian market. So whereas the English market used to dominate it, now the Asian market just saps all the willow up. It's terrible, really, and there's only so much willow to go round. I was talking to a guy from a company in India the other day who came to see me, and about softs, but they make 600 bats a day. That's just one company. You think how many there are in India and Pakistan. So that's huge amounts of money being invested, but they can't all be getting top-end willow. In fact, he's talking about stickers, because they do stickers. I get my stickers made over here, but one of the biggest things that just made me just smile to myself, really, was what I've always said is, well, if we made your stickers, surely you'd want big square stickers to cover the top of the bat. And I went, why? He says, well, you get a lot of willow with knots in it, can hide all the imperfections. Well, that's exactly why I don't want big stickers, because it does hide the imperfections, but that's showing me that these companies are selling top-end bats that aren't true grade 1 willow. Okay, and you guys, the general public, are paying top-end prices for low-end willow, because at the end of the day, nothing above grade 3 should really have lots of knots in, or any knots in, to be fair, of large diameter, particularly in the playing area. So that tells the story, to be honest. But the suppliers are cutting down back on their grading a little bit. So whereas what it used to be, specials or players would have 9+ grains, I've always graded a little bit differently, just because I feel there's lots of pieces of willow out there that are just beautiful pieces of willow. So I've always done sort of 8 to 9 grains up for players, depending on how they look. It's generally 9 grains. But if it was a really special piece, I would put it in there. Even if it's got a little bit of colour in, I don't mind a little bit of colour. And in fact, some of the top players now, you see a lot of bats that are half and half in colour, and absolute sensational bats. So just be aware that there are going to be bats out there that the top end willow isn't going to be loaded with grains so much anymore, just because there ain't the trees about. There's hardly any old trees, whereas they used to be 25 years old, 30 years old. They're now sort of 15. So you're not getting the chance of growth that you used to have. So if you compare, I've got sort of 4 clefts here. So this one has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 grains, probably 10 by the time it's cleaned up. So if that pings nicely, which, where's my ball? It does. I'd look to put that in a willow, in a player's willow. They might not be perfectly even grains, but they are beautiful. It's a nice, it'll come up a nice piece of willow, that. So then you look at one here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 grains. So really you'd be looking at grade 1 there. Grade 1s are now going to go down to 6 grains from suppliers. They'll go 6 grains up, and they might have maybe a little pin knot in the face or something like that works out, you know, when you're working with it. And again, it's down to your pressing, so you get your feel. Then sort of something like this is a grade 2. So you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grains on that, as it is. Well, your grade 2s are going to go down to probably, wouldn't surprise me if there's some 4 grains, but I'd say 5 grains up. I wouldn't be happy having 4 grains. That's ridiculous. But 5 grains up, for me, that's pretty much what I do now anyway. That's grade 2s, and I've got to be honest, my grade 2s they're very close to grade 1s. It's just that they've perhaps got a grain missing. That's all. The grade 2s are great deal. So again, pings nicely. And I don't do grade 3s just because I used to do grade 3s, but I soon realised after a few years of doing it that they weren't even in the same class as a butterfly, and you'd started to get a lot of imperfections in them, so you get a few knots, the grains ran in different directions, they were harder to work, and as it turned out, they wouldn't get quite the ping that you would out of anything else. But the butterflies are superb. So this is a butterfly here. This one, the butterfly stain's only down there, and then one up here, look. So it's got nice grains in it, it's got a lot of colour. So pings beautifully, pings as well as anything that you'll get. To be honest, if bats are handled and pressed properly, any grade should ping. Any of your players, obviously, grade 1s, grade 2s, butterflies should ping. There's no doubts about that if they're handled and pressed properly to each piece of willow. You'll see a lot of butterflies now in the shops that are bleached, so you see a slightly false colour, but the butterfly doesn't stand out so much. But if you look carefully, you'll see it. They still sell for quite a lot of money because they look white, but I truly believe that the peroxides that you use, the bleaches that they use for bleaching them, damages the willow fibres, which isn't good for me. There's a reason why the old bat makers used to use them on a regular basis and claim that they were the best pieces of willow for cricket bats. And you've seen that I truly advocate that, because they are superb pieces of willow. Performance, sometimes they feel a little bit harder, but they ping and they tend to last. You only get the odd one I've seen break. I think I've had 2 butterflies that have snapped actually over the time that I've been doing them, which you can't complain about at all. So I hope that just enlightens you a little bit on grading and the way that it will start to change. It's certainly going to change. So the ability to get willow with a lot of grains in it now is getting rarer and rarer. Hope that makes sense, guys. Bye.